Okay, so we had a quick look at After Effects, but things don't really come to life until you make a composition to start working in. Compositions, or comps for short, are where you do all your work in After Effects. If you're used to something like Photoshop, where you make a new document and you do all your work in there, it's kind of the same thing. But in After Effects, the difference is you can have multiple compositions in one project. And what that lets you do is actually nest compositions inside each other. So you can have one composition and then you can bring all that work into another composition as one layer. And that's actually the basis of a lot of powerful stuff that you can do in After Effects. We'll be touching on this a little bit later on when we add our pop animation inside the balloon animation. But for now, let's just focus on getting the settings right for a new composition so that we can start making our pop. So to make a new composition, you can either go up to composition up here and click new composition, or there's a handy button down at the bottom of the project window, which you can just click. So you should be presented with this window, which is your composition settings. So you need to decide on the size, frame rate, and the length is the main things. Hopefully your default will be HD, standard HD size, which is 1920 by 1080. So if it's not that, make it that. And the frame rate, we're going to work at 24 frames a second. So set your frame rate to 24 and set your duration to, this is called a time code, the way this works. And it's basically just hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. So we want this to be fairly short, otherwise you're going to have a massive long composition and we're not going to be really using it. So set this to 0 and let's work at 10 seconds because it's kind of good length, and set this to 0. So it would be 10 seconds and 0 frames. So make sure everything's looking the same as mine. Click OK and we've got a composition. So you can see up here, comp 1 has appeared in the project window, and then down here we've got this is our composition open. It's got nothing in it at the moment, so it's just blank, and we've got a black screen which is just nothing in it. So this is our comp. This is the HD comp that we just made. Okay, just to quickly look at the comp window, we've got, this is your zoom. So if you want to zoom into your comp, you can go to 100%. We're at 50% at the moment because I'm on fairly small screen, and you can set your resolution here, which is kind of speeds things up. If your computer's running a bit slowly, it will speed up your preview time. And there's other things here which are these are kind of more advanced settings. You don't really need to look at these too much, but have a explore in your own time. This kind of shows you things that are transparent. This turns your guides on and off, your masks and shape path visibility, which you just want on actually at the moment, so don't worry too much about that. And then let's turn this one on. So I'm going to turn on title action safe. And what that does is it just gives you a few guides on top that allow you to make things a bit more accurately, because we're going to be making our pop right in the middle. I want it to be quite accurately in the middle. It's not 100% necessary right now, but I think it's good practice. So make sure when you're making things that you're aware of where they're going, because it's quite important when you're animating to be nice and clean and tidy with the things that you're making. So switch on title and action safe by clicking on this sort of target little button and then turning on title action safe. Great, so let's just quickly recap what we learned in this lesson. We clicked on our make new composition button. Next, we looked at the comp settings window that popped up, and we made sure that we were working at 1920 by 1080 and that we're working at 24 frames a second, and then we set our comp length to 10 seconds. After that, we saw that a new comp had been added to the project window and that the timeline for that comp was added to the timeline window. Then we had a quick look at some of the settings that you get around the comp viewer, including the zoom in and out. And finally, we turned on our action safe guides so that we can see where the middle is, which is really useful for when we're going to be making our pop. In the next video, we're going to actually start making our pop. So we're going to start looking at shape layers and what they do. So I'll see you there.